That damn devil. You know it's Esau. Man, this shit ain't never happened. This shit ain't happened in a long time. You know, that's Esau, man. And we said some things that triggered him. But yeah, we about to close out in a second. We about to close out in a second. So we're not gonna open up again. We just gonna continue on.
This is the last verse. Isaiah 14:27. For the Lord of hosts hath purposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back?
That's right. You got something up?
Yeah, it's Wisdom of Solomon 3. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of the Lord, and there shall no torment touch them. In the sight of the unwise they seem to die, and their departure is taken for misery. And they're going from us to the other destruction, but they are in peace. For though they be punished in the sight of men, yet is their hope full of immortality. And having been a little chastised,
That's right.
they shall be greatly rewarded, for the Lord proved them and found them worthy for himself. As gold is in the furnace, hath he tried them, and received them as a burnt offering. And in the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. They shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and the Lord shall reign forever. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and as much be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he hath cared for his elect. That's pretty much it.
You speak on that, bro.
Yeah, though we in this downtrodden state now, and we're suffering, the end goal or the end game is, our immortality and us reigning forever over these nations. You know what I'm saying? So Esau, Edom, he got the upper hand right now, and these heathen nations, they got the upper hand on us because it's been ordained by the Lord for them to do so. You know what I'm saying? For our suffering. But, the Lord's coming to, get our vengeance and bringing in our salvation to have us our forever kingdom to rule the heathens, in these end days. So that's where we at right now, though we're suffering right now, but soon to come, we're gonna get our gift back.
And then we were reading Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, that was going into the lot of the wicked man. Again, that's King Solomon speaking, where he's been given wisdom, and he knows the reasoning of men, what men think and how men operate. He was the wisest king to ever live. So he knew how the wicked will operate and think. And that was the lot of the wicked. But what the brother just read was the lot of what the elect are going to obtain in these latter end days. Even though we got to go through the straight and narrow gate, and we got to suffer and be chastised a little, guess what? We're not going to be punished with 2/3 of our people, because they're going to be numbered to the sword, man. Because they mocked and scoffed at the Lord's prophets, his messengers, man. But as for the elect, we're putting all our stocks and our trust in Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua now, man, so that we can be taken care of in these perilous times that we're coming into. Yeah, that's a beautiful chapter the brother read, man. Again, we didn't already, as a nation, we didn't already drunk our cup, like it says in Lamentations. We already been through the major captivities of these Gentile kingdoms. Now we're coming to the end of our captivity, man. Esau is going, he's better start drinking that cup. As you see, people are rioting and doing an uprising over Sarah Good, which was an Edomite woman. Esau is beginning to drink his cup, man.
The Edomite woman, and she was a carbon merchant.
Yeah, hey, I thought about that too. With
Of the alphabet community. They want Jake to protest and whatnot. they want Southern Kingdom to come out there and protest. You know, why is it that they want Southern Kingdom to come out so bad? They want us to come out so bad because they want a reason to come forth with martial law.
Right.
You know, because they know, you know, how powerful we are as a people and how much influence we have as a people. If only our people use that influence for good. And when I'm talking about good, I'm talking about the scriptures, man. I'm talking about knowing who you are. But it's okay because the Lord got a plan for all things, you know. And part of that plan is to get rid of the wicked of our people.
Right.
All right, so they can know the end of wickedness in that way. We'll know the end of wickedness by seeing them, man. We don't have to die a fool's death. You know, Lord willing, we stay in this truth. And that's what the scripture teaches, man. Scripture teaches for us not to die a fool's death. You know, the people that died a fool's death is a lesson unto us in this time. You know, and the people that lived righteously and gained their benefits for being righteous, you know, we're supposed to seek out those benefits as well. You know, and that's what that scripture was going into. What else we got, brothers?
This is Job chapter 20, verse 4. It says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment, man. You know, again, you know, Esau in the season is almost up. He's on borrowed time, man.
Right.
You know.
He know it. That's why he's coming with such great wrath.
God.
You know. That's why he's doing the things he's doing, because he knows his time is up. Right? He's just trying to prolong it as much as he can. Right? They're all fearful, man. That's why they're doing what they're doing. They're fearful that they you know, in 20 years, if this country prolongeth itself, they will not be the majority. They will be the minority. So what they're trying to do is create another South African apartheid. You know, they're trying to make another apartheid where the minority rules over the majority. The minority has everything and the majority gets the crumbs. That's what they have in South Africa. The minority, which is the whites in South Africa, own all the businesses. They own most of the businesses there. They own most of the land, right? And the majority, South Africans, you know, they're fighting for the crumbs. They're fighting to get that land back, you know, to take ownership of those businesses. But guess what happens, right? They got puppet leadership. Puppet leadership sides with the white South Africans, you know, because puppet leadership, you know, they're controlled by America. You know, Trump went to South Africa and was like, why is Malema not arrested? He shot a gun in the air in public. And they do that for parades. They shoot the guns in the air for parades, right? And it wasn't even his gun, it was his security officer's gun, right? But since he shot the gun, they want to put him in prison for 10 years, 10 plus years, for shooting a gun in public, when that's a tradition that they do.
Right.
Because Malema is arguing, he's of the political party that wants to take back the land and take back the businesses without giving them any insurances. See, Esau don't like that. If we don't get insurances for the things that we establish here, even though we built it off your backs, we're not having it. So they call for America's help. And America doesn't want that happening here, being that they're not going to be the majority anymore. Right? What happened? The Democrats ushered in about 20 to 40 million illegal immigrants. They ushered in 20 to 40 million illegal immigrants. That's crazy. That brought up the number, that lesson. You know, if they become legal, that lessens the white Americans' numbers, so-called white Americans' numbers. It reduces their power. But if they could establish this MOTB, it would be a class system. So only VIPs have the power.
Yeah.
Only VIPs have the wealth. You got to be in. You know, you got to be in. You know, you can't work your way up no more. You got to be in. The only way you work your way up is you succeed. You succeed for real. That's the only way you work your way up, man. You can't work your way up by starting your own little family business, your little grocery store, making $1 million off of that, and making generational wealth. No, that's not going to happen. You know, you can't have no grocery store unless you're in the system. You can't have no grocery store unless you, you know, subscribe or worship the image of the beast. You know, no man shall buy or sell. You can't even buy unless you worship. So, man, it's coming down to it. It's a beautiful time for the true prophets of the Lord, because the true prophets of the Lord, they're going to be good. You know, even though brothers is going to go through, you know, certain situations, it's still going to be better than going to work every day. You know, still going to be better than dealing with Esau face to face all the time. You know, brothers, the mindset will be better, because right now we a slave. You know, at least as a pilgrim in the earth. You know, our minds ain't, you know, in the world like that no more. We can focus on spiritual things as much as possible. I mean, the Lord going to put us in a very spiritual mindset, to where everything's going to be spiritual. We ain't got to deal with, you know, if you work at a grocery store, you ain't got to touch pork no more. You know, if you a chef at a restaurant, you ain't got to deal with shrimp and seafood and all that shit. You know, there's a lot of freedom in being off grid, and just relying on the Lord, trusting in the Lord. And it builds your faith, because when the Lord comes through for you, you ain't gonna do nothing but grow, you know, in the spirit. You know, we're gonna get to a point where brothers is gonna have superpowers, man. That's true. That's how much faith brothers are gonna have. They're gonna have superpowers. And they're gonna do damage to Esau's goddamn garrisons. You know? Listen, we ain't gonna talk about that because Esau watching. But yeah, what else you got, brother?
Verse 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Lord shall cast his fury of wrath upon him. And your belly symbolizes your desire. What is Esau desire? Psalms, the 10th chapter is one of them, where he wants to make Jake a perpetual slave, man, or really just do away with Jake. You know, going all the way back to the blessing, where Esau was like, you know, just roughly paraphrasing, as long as I live, I'm gonna hunt you down and kill you. You know, that's Esau's desire, man. You know, the new world order. That's when he's about to fill his belly.
All right.
The Lord shall cast his fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through, man. And it says, it is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him, man. And that's going to be the end result, is that Esau is going to be destroyed, man. The third part of man, like it says in Revelation, the 9th chapter. You know, Esau is going to be completely and utterly destroyed, man. You know, no matter if you got your bunkers in Babylon the Great or you in Israel, whatever the case may be, you're going to be completely destroyed. And the ones that are left over, the Lord's going to carry your asses in chains in them chambers, man, in them chariots. And that's it. You know? Yeah. It says, this is a portion of a wicked man from the Lord. Verse 29, this is a portion of a wicked man from the Lord, and a heritage appointed unto him by the Lord, man.
Come on.
You know, that's all I got.
Let's get what we got to close out, brothers. Let's get something to close out. Let me see.
Psalms 91 comes to mind if y'all brothers got something else.
You said Psalms 91?
Yeah.
All right, you got it.
Verse 1.
He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
All right, so the secret place of the Lord really begins with His word, man, this truth, knowledge, and wisdom, which is our refuge. The names, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, which is going to keep us safe and delivered in these perilous times to come, man.
Uh-huh.
And the snare of the fowler, man, the fowler is Esau, man, the so-called white man, and his different snares and traps and wicked imaginations that he has for us Israelites, man, because he hates Jake. And the noisome pestilence is the nuclear missiles. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 4, He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. He shall, by His truth, shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee.
Right, death is going to be so, like, dude, you're going to see death all over the place, man. You know, everywhere you go, you're going to see death. But it's not going to come near the Lord's righteous men. You know what I'm saying? It says, we shall laugh at famine and death. Roughly paraphrasing. We're going to be laughing in that day while everybody else be sorrowful. That's why it's best to be in the house of mourning now so we can be joyful in that day. You know? You can stop at verse 9, brother.
All right, verse 8. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation.
And that's a backup to in the Apocrypha where, you know, we shall desire to see the fall of our enemies, man. You know, Esau, Edom. That's true salvation, man. It's not salvation is not where these other Gentile nations get what we get, man. No, it don't work like that, man. True salvation is when we see the fall of our enemies, and we're raised on high as that top governing mountain, man. And again, that's the time period we're in the 10 toes, and Yahweh Shai is about to come back and knock that whole damn statue down, man. You know? But the point being is, you know, abiding under the shadow of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. Making the Lord your refuge. Because we're going to need it in these times to come. That's all I got.
That's right. All right, so we're going to close out. Lord willing, this camp was edifying. We're going to give all glory, honor, and praise to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakudash.
All right, shalom.